Athletics now heads to Brazil and the largest city in the country, Sao Paulo, for the 86th edition of the San Silvestre 15-kilometer road race. The San Silvestre, or Saint Silvestre Road Race, is the oldest and most prestigious race held in Brazil. The race is considered the granddaddy of New Year's Eve road races now held throughout the world. A superb lineup of runners from Brazil, North, and East Africa was assembled for this most prestigious of New Year's Eve races. The race was held for the first time on December 31st, 1925. For the first race in 1925, 48 male runners competed in the race, which has since grown to include more than 25,000 runners from 34 countries. Originally, only runners from Brazil could compete. However, in 1945, the field was opened so that foreign runners could compete. Now Africans dominate the field. However, the great Brazilian hope and reigning champion is represented in Marathon de Santos. The women's race was seized upon by runners from Kenya and Ethiopia. In the lead is Kenya's Priska Jeptu. She is the current marathon world champion silver medalist, as well as champion of the Paris and Torino marathons. Dogging her footsteps is 2008 champion of this race, Ethiopian Ruth Eyalu. Eyalu, the 10,000-meter bronze medalist at the 2009 World Championship, has a personal best of 14:48 over 5,000 meters. At 3 kilometers, the men's race was still crowded with the hope of potentials. However, the experts pick, Tarika Bekele, was lying in the middle of a pack of 15 men. Seasoned runners such as Kenya's Martin Lay and young hopefuls of Brazilian and African heritage were in the mix with the defending champion and crowd favorite Dos Santos. Dos Santos has won this race 3 times in the past and is also the 2-time winner of the New York City Marathon. The race today was to feature an added element over the classic man versus man, as the increasing tempo of pace and rain were part of a grand relay that would have to be overcome by today's winners. Although the event record of 43 minutes 12 seconds was set by the great Paul Tergat in 1995, that record will be nullified today due to the introduction of a new course for this year's race. Tergat also holds the record for most wins of this event, winning the race on 5 separate occasions. The women's race lead duo remained unchanged since the 4-kilometer point as the two ladies rounded the turn to face the shootout on the final straightaway. It seemed as though Jeptu was starting to lose form in the lead she had maintained for so long against the patient Ethiopian Ruth. As Jeptu dug deep into a reservoir of training, the race was now a 60-meter sprint to determine the 15-kilometer Brazilian all-comers champion. Jeptu was able to find the strength to stifle the 24-year-old challenger and finish first in a time of 48 minutes 48 seconds. The fastest 15-kilometer in the history of Brazil for women. Eunice Kira of Kenya was third, more than 2 minutes behind. The Italian Nadia Edgefini was fourth in 51 minutes 19 seconds. The men by 7 kilometers had disintegrated into a foursome of 3 Kenyans. That's number 204 Career, number 221 Matthew Casorio, and Martin Lay versus the lone Ethiopian, number 225 Bekele. By this point, Dos Santos had fallen behind more than 200 meters, and all thoughts of a Brazilian victory were as wet as the huge thunderstorm that was moving into play for the last 7+ kilometers of the race. Dos Santos was not even the first Brazilian at this point in the race. With the Dos Santos threat far to the rear and a growing thunderstorm at hand, Bekele decided to make his move and place the family crest on this race. This Bekele is no other than the younger brother of Kenisa Bekele, who is arguably the world's greatest distance runner as well as the current 5 and 10,000 meter world record holder. With this bold Bekele move, the broken pack quickly disintegrated into a wet, haggard battle to the finish. The Kenyans were left in dismay as Mark Career represented the best of the green and black flag today, struggling to maintain second place while the Ethiopian ran away with the grand prize. The often overlooked 24-year-old Bekele was forced to struggle home in a torrential Brazilian downpour. By the time he arrived to the home stretch, the 3,000-meter world indoor champion was perhaps wishing for a bit of the controlled environment, although at this point his victory was no longer in doubt. Despite his illustrious family name, Bekele will take this victory with pleasure, as this marks his first major road win and also makes him only the second Ethiopian to ever reign champion of the streets of Sao Paulo. And Kenya, Mark Career shows up 23 seconds behind in 43.58, and a disappointed Dos Santos hangs in for 8th place in a time of 45.06.